sad teen hotline, which is named for a gag, which is funny enough that I'm not going to talk about it in this review because I don't want to risk spoiling it for anyone who hasn't seen the episode, has Tom meeting up with Star primarily to break up with her. He's thought about this ever since the events of Doop Doop. I would imagine that's probably when he really started considering this as an option. And he's decided that he wants to be in a relationship with someone who could be his best friend. You know, kind of like how Marco is. And he recognizes that Star and Marco are best friends and that they aren't really the kind of people who can have more than one best friend, or at least I guess he doesn't think Star is. I think Marco is that kind of person, but maybe Star isn't. Maybe he's right about that. Or maybe he's just trying to justify this decision, which, I mean, the way the narrative has been going lately, I think is the right one for him. And he has this big, dramatic speech where he breaks up with her and gives his reasons, and then he tries to make a big, dramatic, grand exit from the Earth dimension, only for his fiery portal thing not to work this time. They assume it's some sort of emotional issue when Star's portals don't work either, so they keep talking about how they feel. I'm pretty sure this is even when Marco finally shows up and sort of joins the conversation. But even though he thinks he's ready to finally return to the underworld now, he tries again, but once again his portal doesn't work. So Marco offers to open a portal for Tom with his dimensional scissors, but it doesn't work either. So Tom figures that he'll stick around until he's worked through his emotions enough that he can open his portal himself. I can't recall what they thought the problem was with the dimensional scissors, but it doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of things. Like, seriously, I just rewatched this episode 30 minutes ago, and it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. All it really contributes to is another one of those really cool signature Star versus sudden tone shifts, while Tom is once again having an emotional discussion, this time with Marco, which I thought was really interesting, as he's staying in Marco's room at Marco's house until he can figure things out. Star rushes in to inform the two of them that it's not just portals that aren't working, it's also communications. Her compact isn't allowing her to contact anyone on Mutiny. This, of course, harkens back to the previous episode where Hekapu came through a working portal and then informed Marco that something was about to go down on Mutiny, and to stay away. It seems that she has now cut off portal travel to Mutiny, which is, of course, something that she can do. Which should have been my first red flag, that Hekapu was somehow involved in all of this, but honestly, my first time watching through this episode, I didn't even get that. And honestly, if this episode had just been the gag that I'm not going to mention still, and Tom and Star working through their emotional issues, even Tom talking with Marco about his emotional issues, because, like I said before, Marco is his best friend. I think this episode would have been good enough and would have been justified in its existence. Say what you want about this sudden turn towards Starco, which I've always thought was going to be endgame. Let's not kid ourselves. That's the relationship that was always most likely to be endgame since the very beginning of the show. Say what you want about this sudden turn back towards it, though. Say that it's sudden. Say that it's poorly developed. This episode, at the very least, is a catalyst towards that. This is an episode that absolutely had to happen in order for that Starco payoff to actually feel appropriate when we finally get it. If this episode hadn't been here, I'd be more annoyed with the way things are going than I already am. And yes, that is an admission that I am a little annoyed with the pacing of this particular subplot. But I'll get to that at some point. I'm not going to talk about it in this particular review, as this is not a Starco episode, despite the fact that it does lead into Starco stuff later. But that sudden tone shift at the end, when it really sinks in that something is going on here, that something is wrong and it could be dangerous and they need to find a way to get to Mutiny and figure out what's going on, was just great. It was like a fraction of the episode, but it was fantastic and really shows off, not for the first time, not even for the first time in the last several episodes, the crew's fantastic ability to suddenly shift tones without losing anything of the episode. Like, sure, if you're someone who's not really invested at all in this whole relationship plotline, you're not going to get much out of this episode until that final scene. But I am at least somewhat invested in these relationships. So I found the entire episode to be pretty enjoyable, in that teen drama angst kind of way. It wasn't really a particularly funny episode, again, aside from that one gag. That said, as per usual, I'd like to know, what do you guys think of Sad Teen Hotline? If you have seen it, let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord, link in the description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.